Welcome back to the Mobility Project. Here we are, CrossFit BWI. We just killed another seminar. People are going out and changing the world en masse. And today we want to work on a new variation. Ryan, owner, super coach, working on, he's like, hey man, I'm always working on internal rotation. Got any ideas? He's like, he's got his normal battery. He's a super beast. I'm going to show you a variation of something we've done before. It requires a super friend. A super friend is anyone who helps to torture you while you're torturing yourself. That's the definition of a super friend. So here's the position, up against the wall. Spin that thing up. We've done this before where we just bring that leg over into kind of a figure four, basically internally rotating in flexion. The wrist sometimes you get a little internally rotated, you feel this impingement here, but this athlete can contract, relax, he's working on this position, he's got good external rotation, he's done that hip capsule stretch, he's working all the corners. And what I'm going to do here is have him unload to neutral, and then I'm just going to press straight through a little bit through his femur. Remember that to improve flexion of any kind, we mobilize to the back of the socket, and then he go ahead and loads it, and I just chase him over and follow that range. You feel that? And I don't have to oscillate, I'm just adding a little resistance. Obviously, if you feel like the need to evacuate your bowels, stop. It's pretty simple, right?
Yes.
And where do you feel that?
Back of the hip.
Back of the hip. And that's what we want to try to mobilize internal rotation. We want to move it away from the kind of the idea of kind of impinging and making that hip short. Clearly some hip distraction here would be good, but he's going to contract, relax, and all I'm doing is just following him through, right? Even if without the resistance he could contract, relax here. But the difference of taking a really thick, strong athlete, the big posterior chain, and then trying to get to the back of the socket there, it makes a big difference. You agree?
Yeah.
Right. And then the retest on this is pretty powerful in terms of kind of cultivating that internal rotation. Like the shoulder we keep talking about, if you don't have any internal rotation, then you're going to have to compensate the head of that shoulder, the head of that socket, and then as you go to externally rotate, you're missing position. And the same thing is true. You're going to need that relative internal rotation to squat so that you can externally rotate it off. If you're missing it, then the hip ends up getting into some bad positions, compromised, and it's hard to externally rotate on the top. Make sense? Great. So here's number two. Since yesterday we beat the crap out of Zach, God bless his little heart, what we're going to do is work on a little bit new. This is a little bit different variation of some of the stretching you did. We first did this in Oslo with Yami, where we have the band, pull. Now we're going to distract this. We're going to go ahead and sit up, grab the straight leg, and we're going to work on just kind of this posterior musculature for leg extension, or hip flexion, leg extension. Then sits back, and because we get a big distraction through the band, it's pretty horrible, yes?
Yes.
If I want to light him up and do nerve pain, that makes it a lot nervier. We don't need to do that. But then he can start pulling this apart and pulling in this diagonal fashion. We're really biasing the straight leg with the corner here getting pulled. But this is a really, really nasty corner. And you can see it's actually not so different than that position we were working on over here, except we're trying to hit that lateral part of the leg to give room so that we can get those full excursion in those pieces of the capsule. You feel that?
Yeah.
Great. So contract, relax there. Let's get 3 or 4 minutes. And then the final piece, you know what we're going to do? Working on that squatting idea, really trying to hit the lateral part of the capsule. So typically when we start working on flexion external rotation, we work in neutral in this position. But what we're going to do is we're going to kick back, further and further back until we really start to wind up this lateral hamstring. Then we're going to put our hand on the foot and then let the knee drop out to the side, keeping the foot in neutral. If you lose this, you'll see that you'll lose that tension in the hamstring. When people's feet come up, you lose that attachment with that foot down, and then knee out and pressing back. It becomes a nightmare. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree.
And then hold, and then can you superwoman out of this? Oh God, the tearing. There it is. That's how you make it more fun. Close to the airport, full of badass people, CrossFit BWI. We'll see you guys tomorrow.